Take it. Got it! Boston wins! Two legends in basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast. NBA, some college.
All right, welcome into another episode of the Ryan Goodman and Tangway podcast. We do not have Gary here today, so hosting duties are all mine today. So, Bob, you better be ready. You better be ready. I might hit you with absolutely anything, although we know what we're going to talk about. Certainly the Celtics barrage of threes. First, we are presented by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks. All right, Robert, I know how much you love threes being hoisted. The banner was unveiled, the rings ceremony. It was all pretty cool. Let's start there because to me, I don't know, it was just kind of cool to watch for me personally, especially with Jason Tatum, who I've known since he was 15 years old, who people kind of have been hot and cold with here in Boston at times over the years. I mean, let's think about it. 3 years ago, I wasn't the only one saying we should break up the Jays. I was saying for Jaylen Brown, not for Jason Tatum. But there were some people that were saying at that point, hey, maybe it's Jason Tatum who should go.
Yeah, no, you're right. Hadn't sold himself to everybody. And he's had a long time career already, and he's still only 26, but he had to grow and progress. And he certainly has done it. And what he did last night, and after all the off-season hoopla emanating from the Olympic situation, was like dramatic. It was tremendous. He started off 15 seconds into the game with hitting a three, and he wound up 8 for 11 on threes, and at least 2 of them were outrageous Curry / Caitlin Clark like threes, and he just answered it. And then late in the game, I looked up and said, holy bleep, he's got 10 assists.
I know. And
I remember one behind a back pass, but that says a lot right there that you didn't even notice that. But he had quietly had 10 assists to go with his 3-point barrage.
That's the beauty of Jason Tatum. That's what I've said for years, is like he can make people better consistently.
Yeah.
And now you've got really 4 guys on the court who consistently do it, right? Horford can do it from the center spot.
He can do it.
We know Drew can do it, and Derek White can do it.
Well, here's the 3 of them together. The big 3, 3-point shooters last night. Tatum 8 for 11, Brown 5 for 9, White 6 for 10. That's 19 for 30 on threes.
Take a look at the assists and turnovers. Take a look at the assists and turnovers.
Yeah, I forgot. I know it was a minuscule.
30. I think it was something like 33 assists and 3 something insane.
They had a extremely high assist field goal ratio and very few turnovers. So it was a terrific performance by them. I want to say this before we forget. Assist to the Knicks fans. It wasn't as bad as it looked. It wasn't as bad as you think if you didn't see the game. Offensively, the Knicks were excellent. They were offensively late in the game. There was a timeout, or maybe not somewhere in the game, and they were shooting 59.7% from the floor,
and losing by 30,
and we're down by 29 points.
Right.
It was 109.8. All right. Defensively, they obviously they did not remotely defend the three when the game mattered. We'll get to the end of the game in a minute. It was rather hilarious, but offensively, you could see what their potential is. And oh, by the way, I didn't realize the explosive nature of Mr. McBride. If he can heat it up. Say he kept them in the game, but you can say he kept the game where it was still not out of sight at halftime. Totally thanks to him. He had 22 off the bench and including about 5 threes. He looked awful good. So, but you could see the Towns effect on their offense. Yeah. They're going to be fine on offense. They're going to be what people think they're going to be. They will be. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But obviously, and by the way, that game, let's just say they played that game, the same game, 82 times this year. All right.
Yeah.
How many times do you think they're going to run up against the foe shooting the way the Celtics shot last night?
Well, listen, Probably never again because they tied the NBA record when it
Yeah.
mattered.
So I'm telling you, I'm offering a consolation to the Knicks fans. You ran into a juggernaut, you ran into a buzzsaw, you ran into all those cliche things last night. On the road, opening night, all the hoopla, all the adrenaline. Fine. Don't get down on your team over there's something to salvage out of that game if you're a Knicks fan. I'm telling you right now.
So two things stood out to me. Number one, Jason Tatum's shot looked cleaner. It just looked cleaner. They said he'd been working on it to make it a little bit, I don't know what the word is for it, like not as long, right? Not as long. And it looked more compact to me. It looked like he got it off quicker. We'll see if that continues. Yeah. Obviously, it's a one-off. I remember Marcus Smart in college hit like 7 threes in a game, his first game against Memphis when he was with Oklahoma State. And everybody was like, oh, Marcus Smart has fixed his three. And he hadn't. He ended up shooting
holds the Celtic record.
Right.
By the way, Marcus Smart holds the Celtic record in a game with 11. I'm
always, worried about like making these huge determinations like you just said about the Knicks off one game. However, I do think Tatum's shot looked cleaner. Okay, which is huge because he just hasn't shot the percentage that I thought he would over the last couple.
There was a year early in his career when he, at some point, like 2 months into the season, he was leading the league in field goal percentage.
Right.
And that guy disappeared. And that bottoming out of the Olympic thing when he didn't make one.
And as good as his shot looked, Bob, the guy on the other side, Mikal Bridges' shot looks broken. I don't know what happened. This is a guy who was a 3-and-D guy who shoots close to 40% his whole career. And something happened over the offseason where he tinkered with it and it went the other way. And now he's got this hitch and he shot terrible from the preseason. And I think he was 2 for 7 last night from 3.
They're all line drives.
Yeah.
For some reason, they didn't have a nice arc at all. So anyway, but it was all I was thinking of, it was like we never had left the building on June 17th, because the last time we were in that building, it was, rah-rah, sis, boom, bye. And Peyton was throwing them ball in from midcourt, and everybody was smiling. It was a festive occasion. And last night was an immediate festive occasion, and it was a lot of fun. There's no question for a Celtic fan.
It sent a message, Bob. You know what it did? It sent a message without Porzingis, who they played with for a good portion of last year, and he was hurt in the playoffs. It sent the message that like, okay, we aren't going anywhere. And I actually think the one thing that last year did was alleviated some of the pressure now off Tatum and Jaylen Brown, where if they have a bad game, it doesn't mean as much now. And we know what Holiday and Derek White bring to the table, right? They're older. Holiday certainly is. They don't play for their numbers at all. I still think that Jaylen and Jason at times played for their numbers, but now winning a title, and everybody's saying, well, the Olympics have motivated both of them. I don't know if it's so much motivated. I think that's a part of it, but I think last year's NBA title alleviated some of that pressure, and now they can go out and kind of have fun, and they'll go through their stretches where they're going to lose, 3 in a row, and the sky's going to be falling for Celtics fans. But ultimately, this team, man, if they stay healthy, I just don't know who can beat them.
Well, on a given night, of course, but I think we can pencil in 60 wins for the under and go from there. I don't think there's much question about that. We got to tell people who doesn't know about the end of the game was hilarious. So somewhere along the way, and I don't know how the public got informed, but a guy behind me knew. I was in the stands, with my daughter, and a guy behind me knew right away. I mean, that they had when it hit 29, that 30 is a record in the league, for threes, and this is with 8 minutes to go. So there's no question they're going to do it, right? They missed their last 13 threes, including Pritchard, 2 air balls.
I think this was you. I think we're gonna credit you for missing all those threes. You did not want them to break the record.
No, I got swept up in it, but I was just amused by it, the way it unfolded. And we're all standing. It's 19,000 people are standing. They're up by 30. Well, as the lead's diminishing as they keep on diminishing these threes, but waiting for that next one. Everybody's going crazy. And then, of course, when they get their last possession with about 28 or 30 seconds to go, and they have one more chance, Peyton Pritchard dribbles the clock out at midcourt. That didn't go over very well with the
strange. It was just strange. Everybody knew you were going for the record for the last 8 minutes. You're hoisting. I mean, Jordan Walsh is throwing airball threes. Yeah. Xavier Tillman's throwing one up. Everybody, Pritchard, Hauser. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, okay, now we don't want the record. Like,
I don't know whether I haven't seen anything. Did Joe tell him don't do it?
He must have. He must have.
He must have, huh? Pritchard. So Pritchard dribbles out the clock and they don't do it. And but it was, I've never, all the years, this on the 17th of October, I was my anniversary, my 60th anniversary of my first Celtic game in the Garden, the old Garden. And all the years I've been going to Celtic games, I've never seen an ending like that. It was hilarious, and it transcended the score. But anyway, so it was an overall a fun evening. The ceremony, was pretty elaborate. I loved it. The great Bob Cousy was there, and he said, told Dan Shaughnessy of the Globe that, in my day, we hoisted a flag before a game in an empty arena. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And in those days, now of course it's a extravaganza, naturally. But and it was well.
What was the highlight, Bob? What was the highlight for you?
The highlight for me was Tatum when they asked Tatum to speak, and he out of time gathering himself. And finally came out and said, and ending up very brief. Let's do it again. That's just what they wanted to hear. I thought he handled himself well there. Just seeing Kuz with them and all the guys.
How did Kuzi look?
Here's another thing interesting. Given the dynamics, Ray Allen had the falling out with Garnett, and the three of them were there together and interacted, laughing and joking all night long. And nice to see Ray back in the fold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so. That was good. And then they were interacting with Donnie Wahlberg, was sitting near them. We had, Plus, but it was well done. It was well done.
For those, I'll say this, because again, as I said, I the first time I met Jason Tatum, he said about 2 words. And even through the years, I mean, even when he was a rookie, he didn't want to get up there on the podium. He didn't really want to talk. He wasn't comfortable at all. For him to get up in front of the Garden, in front of that many people.
The whole thing lasted about 20 seconds. Let's be honest. But he pulled it off, and he said what they wanted to hear. And it. Another moment when the coaches got their rings and they came out, introduced one by one. Joe Mazzulla got to the foul line, knelt down, and kissed the floor. Good for you. That's good.
He is a unique individual. We still need to get him on the pod.
We're peeling back all the layers from him. You know what I mean? This guy's got a lot of layers. Who knew anything about Joe Mazzulla? I just remember him as a player at West Virginia, period. End of story. That's all. I knew nothing about him. Yep. I didn't even know he's from Providence, Rhode Island. I didn't know that,
You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Hey, sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. This week on the Prize Picks football board, Justin Jefferson for more than 83.5 receiving yards and Patrick Mahomes for less than 267.5 passing yards. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
I'm with you on the Knicks. They're not they weren't as bad as they looked in a 30-point loss. And you also got to take into account here, they got Karl Anthony Towns, 3 weeks ago. So it's going to take some time for him to acclimate with those guys. But I will say, as much as everybody's like, okay, now they got their wings, Anunoby and Bridges that can guard and compete with Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Listen, Jaylen Brown and Tatum are up here. Bridges and Anunoby are down here.
Well, I was monitoring these point differentials between the Celtic pair and the Knick pair. And at one point it was 59-14, and I'll see what the final was. No, but that's opening night, and and I'm telling you, I don't know what exactly Tom Thibodeau's saying to him, but I said, this is bizarre. You don't shoot 60% and be down by 29 too often.
Crazy.
And
Crazy.
so that they just ran into the wrong team in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, they're going to be fine.
All right, let's get to the nightcap last night.
Yeah.
Stayed up. I don't know if you got home to see.
I got home and I had to get up too early. I said, hell with it.
Yeah.
And
All right, I'll give you the quick
Yeah.
Clip Notes version here because I did watch it. Because before the game, I was shocked to see a quote from JJ Redick saying Bronny James is going to play tonight. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna definitely watch this thing because I thought there was no shot in hell, Bob, that Bronny James was going to be a part of a game beforehand that could be close against Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, well, he did. He checked in. They were up, I don't know, about 14, 15 points late in the first half. And sure enough, Bronny James gets up and checks in with LeBron.
with Daddy.
I'll say this, as much as I have been hard on Bronny James being drafted, being on the team right now, not being worthy of a spot on an NBA roster right now, I will say, like, it was pretty damn cool. It was cool to watch. Like, as a father, as somebody who also has seen LeBron in the stands in AAU, like a lot of them. I go out all July.
Sure.
I've seen LeBron interact with Bronny for the last 5-6 years. It was, again, like there are two things here you can have, and one of them is, like I said, I don't think Bronny's worthy of a spot right now in the NBA, but you can also be really happy for LeBron James that he was able to have this moment with his son.
Yeah, no, I mean it's special. It's very special. You know, not many people can relate to it. You'd have to talk to the Griffeys, right? You'd have to talk to,
Yep.
I mean, or Gordie Howe's gone, so you can't tell. But that's
Marty.
the first one we ever knew. But anyway, no, it's a special moment. There's no question. I'm just among those who are just saying, you know, but does Bronny really deserve to be on this team as opposed to other guys in the G League who, you know, have paid their dues?
I'll answer that for you. No, he does not. He does not deserve to be on. If his name was not Bronny James, he would be in college right now for a second year at USC.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be an open question, and then open up the whole question of why is JJ Redick coaching this team? You know, I don't want to go too far off the deep end, but we'll see how it works out. But
is he coaching, Bob? Is he coaching, or is LeBron? I tweeted that too when I saw that he said that Bronny was going to play. I said, all right, this shows me that JJ is really not the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question. It's a highly unusual circumstance. So, all right.
Co-coaches. That's what it is. It's co-coaches. LeBron and JJ Redick are coaching this team together in some regard, aren't they?
Yeah, well,
probably.
They're partners. They've previously been podcast partners, and you know, here we go. You know, so, oh yeah,
'tis the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, the NBA season, folks. It is the best. Look, the NFL is great. I understand, but if you're looking into star power, celebrity, entertainment, it's the NBA. There's no doubt about it. And my Celtics, I'm looking for them to defend. We need a new dynasty in the NBA. We need one, okay? And I think this Celtic group can do it. I know the Celtic group can do it. And you know who else, from what I understand, is a Celtic fan? Is Hugh Jackman. Yes, Wolverine himself, the greatest showman. Hugh Jackman is a big Celtic fan. And if you're like us and you want to check out the Celtics or maybe any other team that happens to be coming to town to try to knock off the kings of the NBA, the Celtics, make sure you go to Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Now, Game Time, and you can get your Celtics tickets there. It's really easy to do. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier because Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, right, to show you incredible deals and great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Like when I go to my Game Time app, it says Celtics game right there. Boom, pops up, how much the price is. I'm ready to go. It's as simple as that. They have super deals. They're as good as it gets. Check it out on the Game Time app. And again, I can't emphasize how easy it is, even for an idiot like me. You download the app, it's got a G on it for Game Time. You just click it on. You can designate where you want to go, what you want to do. You can, favorite your games and your cities and so forth. And it pops up on the screen. You click it on, and there you go. And you're off and running. It's as simple as that. They also have curated deals that make it easy to find best prices and great seats. They have the super deal. And I love this part. You know the view of your seats before you buy them. You know what you're getting. And it has the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and so much more. So, Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on concerts, comedy, theater, sports. Oh, speaking of concerts, Coldplay coming to Gillette Stadium in July of 2025. Tickets are already up on Game Time. Not bad either. Not bad at all. And the Jingle Ball Kiss, the iHeart Jingle Ball at the Garden, you can get tickets on that too. And they always have big stars around Christmas time. So all-in pricing, toggling, they call it toggling. It shows you everything up front. No surprise fees at checkout. And I mentioned the seat views, great panoramic views, so you know you're buying. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
Well, anyway, the Lakers open up against beat the Timberwolves, who I think are the team people like very much in the West. And
Well, they liked. Here's the deal, Bob. I liked them. I don't know about you. They had momentum. They came off a great postseason last year, and Tim Connolly goes out and trades Karl Anthony Towns in a deal that brings Julius Randle. And I think a lot of people are shaking their heads. And I'm watching them last night, and I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know if this was the right move.
I question that too. I definitely question that too. And so, by the way, Gary and I were talking when we met about these ESPN's top 10 NBA players.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that list.
I didn't see it. No.
Well, number 10 was on the floor last night, Anthony Edwards.
What? Oh, top number 10 of current.
Number 9, Kevin Durant. 8, Embiid. 7, LeBron. 6, Curry. 5, the highest ranked American-born player, Jason Tatum.
Wow.
Because the 4, 3, and 2, and 1 are all internationals.
Okay.
SGA is 4. He's Canadian, that people keep forgetting. Giannis is 3. Luka is 2, and Jokic is 1. And that's the order that they have. Anyway, Anthony Edwards, he had 27 last night. He's off and running. Right?
He might be, honestly, I might put him, and this is crazy for me to say because I was one of the skeptics of Edwards coming out of college because he was so bad and the team was so bad.
And I do remember those discussions.
Yeah, I didn't know how it would work, especially in Minnesota with, not a lot of leadership around him other than Mike Conley, right? Mike Conley, I think, has been huge for him. But I might put Edwards above. I might put him at 6.
Well,
and Tatum.
And there's a guy that played last night that I thought he reminded us yet again how good he is when he's available to play. And that is, of course, you know who, AD.
Yeah, he was terrific.
He's so good, and just a matter of, is he going to show up tonight or next Tuesday or whatever day you need him? And he's really good. And so. Oh, by the way, the Lakers. You see if they shot 3 points in contrast to the Celtics.
Not good.
5 for 30.
Yeah, they were taking a lot of them. JJ
5 for 30.
But if you don't have shooters, here's the problem. If you don't have good enough shooters, like it's hard to play the style that JJ Redick wants them to play. No. Like they don't have a knockdown shooter. Maybe Austin Reeves might be
and maybe Connect.
He was over 5 last night.
Would Connect turn out to be that guy?
They don't. Who?
Connect.
Yeah. Dalton Connect. He came off the bench. He gave him a jolt. I think he's got to play more. Just
a quick flash. Tyler Kolek made his NBA debut last night, and almost his first possession flashed to the hoop. Yes. Boom. Yeah. It was Brunson-like, and Brunson goes to the hoop. So you got to see him in person to realize the way he plays, Brunson.
I talked to Brunson about Kolek. I talked to Jalen about Kolek.
I heard good things about Kolek.
He loves Kolek. He loves him. And I go, he's like a mini you in some ways, more
Well,
mentality.
that's my impression, and because he is southpaw too, and you can't help it. But he flashes to the hoop, boy. He don't sleep on him. I can see that right away.
All right,
Anyway,
so
the Lakers shot 5 for 30, which means they were 37 for 65 on twos. And they won the game, 110-102.
and LeBron wasn't great. LeBron was not great in this game. He was kind of average, actually below average LeBron.
Yeah.
But they got, again, a monster game from Anthony Davis with 36 points and 16 rebounds. So if they get that, again, I think Minnesota's, again, a team that might get off to a slow start here because they're going to try to figure it out. And I'm not sure they're going to figure it out to the same level that they did last year. I'm not sure that, I don't know if it's going to be a one-off, but I don't know if we're going to see Ant Edwards go is deep in the playoffs like that. Because Conley's getting older. And if Randall
he's
doesn't fit
37.
in,
He's 37.
I don't know. I have some questions. All right. Let's finish with the Sixers, Bob. And the fact that they will not have Joel Embiid or Paul George on the court for the opener. And
here we go.
It's going to be par for the course. I just think this isn't going to work in Philly.
I mean, no, that's the whole issue. It's the whole issue. I mean, and I thought they had done a nice job in theory. They picked up George and they bolstered the bench with, 2 or 3 useful guys, and I thought that, but once again, it's all the great what if is Embiid going to play and now is George going to play? Yeah. I mean, you can't get overly excited about Philadelphia. They just got to hope when April comes that they can put the 5 guys on the people on the floor they want on the floor. I mean, everybody has to feel that way, but obviously we know that. And look at the Celtics. You don't want to go into playoffs without Porzingis or any one of the regulars. But with the Sixers, this is just the daily reality. So I can't get excited about them.
I've told you too. I think the problem is going to be Paul George is 34. He's already missing some games to start off the season, which means it's going to take him some time to maybe get back. Yeah. They're going to lose a bunch of games early. Sixers fans, we know how they are, Bob. We know how Sixers fans are. Probably the least forgiving of any in all of sports in terms of Philly fans. Am I wrong?
Yeah. You're right. It's going to be, it's people. I hope they get. The thing gets framed so they understand whether they want to believe it or not. They will not
understand. They will not understand. All they want to do is win. And if they're not winning, which I think, again, the Knicks are better. Milwaukee, we'll see what they do here without Chris Middleton.
Middleton, once again, that's another guy that you can't count on.
This could be it. I feel like we've seen the last of the Chris Middleton that we saw a couple years ago.
So the next tier, the ones to keep your eye on to cause a little trouble: Indiana, Cleveland, and Orlando. With Banchero we both agree on Paolo Banchero, right?
Yeah,
that he's the next big thing in the East.
He's a beast. I mean, I remember seeing him. The first time I saw him was at the Olympic deal or in Colorado Springs. And I looked at this dude and I was like, Chris Webber. That's who this guy reminds me of. He was so big as like a 15, 16-year-old. And then I saw him play in high school out in Seattle. I was out there for a Washington game, a Washington trip. And I saw him. Funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but we're out there for a high school game. I think they were playing at, I don't know if they're playing at O'Day High School, but we're waiting outside and it's raining and the gym is packed. We got there just before the game started, or I got there, and we're waiting outside and I'm waiting and Jamal Crawford walks up and he's waiting and I'm waiting. And again, they're not letting anybody in. The game has started at this point. Somebody's calling somebody inside to tell them, well, Jamal Crawford's out here. We might want to get Jamal Crawford in. He's kind of what Seattle basketball is all about, right? And I'm not kidding. Like Jamal Crawford, this was like the coolest thing to see from a guy like this. He never said a word. He just sat out there. He and I sat out there for the better part of the first half. We missed probably the first quarter, I bet. Yeah. And he didn't say one word where a lot of players would have been like, get me in there.
Yeah,
you know,
oh,
this
God, yeah.
bullshit. He was just like
Well,
as
don't you know who I
classy as-
am routine. Yeah. Yeah. Good to hear. Good. I like to hear stories like that.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we'll be back later this week. A lot more coming up, obviously, with the NBA finally getting going here. We got real games.
I'll tell
And,
you who's got my attention. And I just got through reading the Sports Illustrated cover story on Wembanyama.
oh,
And oh boy, I just can't wait to see him play again, you know. And
well, you can't wait to see him get better players around him so that he plays in relevant games. That's what I want for Victor,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what we all want. You want to see him in the playoffs like next year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's going to be, which is a tough order. Certainly, it's going to be asking a lot. But he is something he could turn out to be something like we've never seen at
No
7
question.
and that's it. And you want to be careful with these kind of superlatives, but sometimes they are warranted. It's like in baseball, you know, somebody would have told you 25 years ago there'd be this Japanese guy who would be a Cy Young candidate and,
Right.
and could win a Triple Crown in the same year. You'd laugh. Guess what? 2025, that might happen.
Yeah.
When he goes back to the mound. Well, anyway, Wembanyama, 7'4" guy with guard skills and extraordinary intelligence, high IQ. If you go with this physical package, and oh my God, look out, world.
Yep, no doubt. All right, well, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us again. We are presented by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of CLNS Media. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks.